An invitation? Or a trap? I don't suppose I'd stay here long either. And now we're out of the wind. What else could possibly go wrong? I'm never going to get all of this out of my shoes. So much for misty jungles and crystal beaches. Tell me you don't plan on connecting with this pillar? Aye, I'm right primed for another. Twice a day, in fact. As regrettable as those deaths were, what choice did she have? Are we to punish her for attempting to aid her people, and that her own misdeeds don't come to light? We can't help her cover this up. We saw how the Valiants took over Port Marge. Imagine a similar scenario with a less amiable governor. I don't doubt your intentions, but isn't this a little rash? No offense, but you seem a little young to make this decision on behalf of your entire tribe. Powerful friends have a way of extracting costly favors, don't they? You're responsible for your tribe and you're just going to pretend you didn't see this? You're going to trust your fate to the goodwill of animancers? That does tend to follow the Engferth. An angry crowd in the middle of nowhere. This seems familiar. Oh, that could have gone better. And much, much worse. Trust me, Vector, there is little your people could do that would not make matters worse. Let the Huana see to their own. Ruana may punish her, but how will he prevent other mishaps? Vector, your people deserve fair warning. Not your fault and not your problem. A familiar refrain. There's a pack-hunting swamp lizard in Adir with a call like that. It normally means they have you surrounded. I recall when you picked up ancient Engferth, but this? Making new friends, are we? No, I'll just watch from here. That looks like a warning. When did they learn to do that? Just once. Can't these things appear someplace nice? I thought I was taller. I do hope that isn't contagious. Compensating, are we? Isn't this colourful? What do you say to drafting these folk on your boat? An exquisite poet. Oh, this shall be a rare treat. We've no intent to disturb you. Please carry on. If we're going to be in the habit of helping criminals, I'm glad this lot is more polite than the Dominels. I'm relieved we haven't lost sight of the important work before us. No, I still enjoy tile puzzles and deflecting personal questions. Anyway, what are you doing here? It was lovely seeing you. This is Ymir, an old friend from my academy days. I can see where I may have confused the poor fellow in our academy days. Perhaps lovely is too strong a word. I meant pleasant. Perfectly agreeable. 'Twas a right fierce labour getting the lad to finger any flesh that weren't covering his spelly books. Well, at least everyone's clear on that. Then I suggest you keep an eye on the bill. So much for discretion. Small wonder the old empire collapsed in civil strife if this is the Valian way. Must you encourage this barbarism? Let's make it a point to avoid that man, shall we? It's been ages. But what's happened to your armor? Even Isilmir couldn't have topped that. Do take care of yourself, Palagina. Even I'm scuppered. Excellent. Now that they've reached an understanding, you can tell them this was all a ruse. Right? He's had more than a few. Perhaps we should go before this ends in rambling professions of love. Also something I'd like to avoid. Never fear. It's the unseen deeds that matter most. If this goes badly, at least there's enough wealth in this room to cover our funeral expenses several times over. Oh, there are certainly worse ways to pass one's time. You're not going to ask me to carry that, are you? It seems you've been talking in your sleep about Aethys's plan to destroy the wheel. Our friends here are understandably concerned. I would not be so confident. A wounded behemoth is often the most dangerous. Not exactly subtle. Is he going to do this every time? Accept humility. Now this is a worthy use for animancy. What a mess. This is why wizards get a bad reputation. Don't touch anything. Believe me, I'm looking forward to getting out of them. Normally, the Circle's involvement constitutes the worst possible outcome. Or have you already forgotten the Blackwash Falls incident? Yes, and that will be quite enough from you, imp. Now, quit bothering us, or I'll have you reshelve every book in my study. On the bright side, if he wanted to kill us, he probably wouldn't have bothered with the imp. How in all Aora have they kept it down here? That is disgusting. Fie, surely you mean the ninny pate which blundered the job. Is that truly necessary? That depends on the type of friend we're talking about. Hardly a perfect option, but perhaps the best available. I sympathize. Well, at least he left your space alone. To think the fate of Eora rests in our collective hands.
I'm right weary of your pointing and gumming. Take that shell and open your nether clove.
How nice to see Dario employs true professionals. I don't see what Sedusa was fussing about. Nothing wrong with being tidy. Is that wise? Keeping a room full of sick people in the most crowded district in the city? So you assumed the worst and threw him to the wolves.
Of all things, I am most certainly not transparent.
Am I? I assume you're volunteering one of your own. I don't trust this creature. At all. The gods may serve a purpose for Kith, but that does not mean we must close our eyes to what they really are. I'm suspicious of anyone who demands unquestioning loyalty.
Long and last. 'Tis a right fine pleasure jawing with someone who cons proper prose. Fie, I canna thing her 12-bit dallying topside to shelter a stiff, unfailing sliver of being. Right fine, you jolly old bampot.
Ozzo, I thought I smelled something familiar. They're making a valiant effort, but filling a few bellies now does little to solve the underlying problems here. True change must come from a greater authority. It's encouraging to see what ordinary kith can do for one another when they're not under the thumb of great powers. After all, this is the work of Dawnstars, not Aethys.
What if we all just walk instead?
Which is why we stay indoors and take up civilized habits, like proper enunciation. And I say your queen is a shrewd leader. You should consider yourselves fortunate. Surely that's an uncharitable assessment. Are you to decide the fate of nations, Karu? And the lives and deaths required of them? This sounds disturbingly familiar. I do hope there's a purpose to this bloodshed. I shall go with them, Benessa. After all, the jungle can be perilous, and the beasts that were here could not have gone far. The last time I saw you like that, you just suffered an awakening. Is everything all right? I've seen you commune with souls of the dead, but this looked altogether different. What happened? Already? Moving things along rather quickly this time, aren't we? I don't suppose you could deduce where he's going next. Perhaps we could search other sources of luminous Audra. He certainly seems to have had business with this one. At least he'll be easier to spot than Theos. How I've missed your colorful retellings. But surely Aethys wouldn't cause such harm on purpose. Would he? They've got to employ their priests somehow. Then it's a good thing I'm not in the habit of following orders anymore. Are you all right? You look as if you're seeing something. I suppose that's a good thing? All in a day's work, then? Oderisi was always a bit obsessive, but he was a good enough fellow. I hope this was quick, whatever it was. Oderisi. He was in charge here. Bit obsessive, but a good enough fellow. I hope this was quick, whatever it was. Reminds me of a time Isilmir got mouthy with a Rawatayan mercenary. You can't mean we're stuck here? Isn't this charming? Your instincts were right, Watcher.
Faye, 'tis a right foul stench. Who's right primed for a bashing?
At least this means they're all dead. Right? Did Aethys do this? You're certain he wanted us all to come? This isn't good. Should we be concerned about that? This does not sound good. We should move quickly. Shouldn't they be leaving too? Try to hold her attention. No. That can't be healthy. I don't suppose you have this talk on hand? Whatever gave you people the idea that dragon would let you ride her? It's the dragon that concerns me.
Faye, suppose he's got a better half tucked in there too?
As much as I like pretending nothing happened, perhaps we should talk about your episode with the Audra. I was rather hoping someone else would bring that up. That sounds ominous. I was actually wondering about you, though. How are you holding up? Well, Margaren's teeth sounds like the kind of place that should rather stick out. Shall we continue on? I don't suppose you happen to see where Aethys is headed next. Remind me to stand back when you tell him so. It's a good thing we're old friends. Perhaps you misheard him. It's possible, isn't it? I don't mean to rush you, but if you're feeling able, we should hurry. You were out for quite some time. Long enough for our foes to catch up to us here.
Faye, you bempot, even I've no learnt for that.
Truly? Is this what you would do with the power placed in your hands? What right do you have to do this? Destroy the wheel and leave us with nothing? Without even knowing what will come next? It seems we're all still here. The Engferths, of course. Only they would create a monster and bind it to guarding their secrets. What manner of creature is this? I've learned that is often best. Her face paint. You don't suppose that war club looks like a much older version of the leaden key insignia? Well, there's always the potential for ill, but we cannot govern people by removing their choices. We must trust that reason and moderation will win out. If it can be used for good, then surely it's better to entrust it to a responsible authority. I take it he is not one of those fools. Perhaps we should listen. He's not sleeping near my berth, I promise you that much. Rather cocky for a man with no skin. If I don't survive our adventures, promise me you'll burn all my books. You look like you could use some fresh air. This seems needlessly cruel. Must we torment the poor man? A little restraint isn't always a bad thing. I suppose that is an improvement? And the answer had better not involve consuming us. We should discuss the sleeping arrangements. Worth a try. And this is what animancers consider science? I'm not impressed. And you think clinging to life in that mouldering corpse makes you bold, is that it? Or perhaps you think there's virtue in manipulating and terrorizing your apprentices. You're nothing but a coward and a bully, Consul Hot. Afraid to die and afraid to be forgotten. Who holds the Lord accountable for abuses against his people? Who hunts the fugitive who betrayed her neighbor's trust? And who holds them accountable for serving the greater good? Who ensures they do not become the same as those they hunt? This court's methods may not be perfect, but if they can bring justice to those who evade it, then we shouldn't stand in their way. Theos also believed he was an authority unto himself, and he wielded that authority to the detriment of many, many people. Whatever works, I suppose. And who exactly put him in charge? Happily. This is just like old Valia. Vela, that's not a very nice word. Who taught you that? I see. We'll just have to have a little chat, won't we?
Collywalk, someone's learning the last rate.
There are much better examples to follow for proper language. Is anyone seeing to your schooling, Vela? Oh, that settles it. You and I will start with mathematics, history, rhetoric. My dear, there is no weapon sharper than a well-trained mind.
Confound it! That usually works. Rather difficult to concentrate. I did not con this spell speak.
Let's try again.
Confound it! That usually works. Rather difficult to concentrate. I did not con this spell speak. Make the bastards rue that one. I'm seeing red now. If we've to go down, take them all with us. Try it again, you caitiffs. We've lost one. Yeah. I shall deal with this one. These uns are in for a walloping. Let's hie it out. They'll fall by my hand. No mercy.
All right.
Ah!
Not exactly my area of expertise. That looks complicated. I think not. I wish I could.
Graved a fila thirlim. Quethe silmes meetum. Werde bildan saul. Proacten. Sagrithu. Ixmaru.
Aloth en moedale. Levonas anelin. Breathlin hearts and wine.
I shall, of course. Indeed. Very well. All right. If you insist. Gladly. No trouble at all. As you wish. You need only ask. Whatever you need.
That's it! Ha-ha! There's a walloping! Curses! Damn the lad's aim! I'm sorry.
That's unusual.
What do you suppose that bally thing is?
I wonder what this is. You should see this. You might find this interesting. Farewell. Are you certain? Perhaps it's better this way. Please be careful out there. We could use some time apart.
I see the wits of their eyes.
I see trouble. Tread cautiously.
We're not alone.
Foes ahead.
I've had enough of this. No more!
I'm getting out. I've got to get out of here.
Uluthen. Moeth Ixianoth. Lavaru Bion Sik. Brithu Likna. Athek Worth and Roth. Hey, are you blind? That's me you're hitting. Careful.
Is that necessary? Stop this. Have I done something? Could you be more careful?
I know this Dalian. I don't suppose you're ready to move on.
No rush. If we're going to wait around, we could at least do it at the bathhouse. I'm in no hurry. I'm glad we can enjoy these quiet moments together. I don't mind waiting when I'm in good company. You seem deep in thought. Most inconvenient. This won't do. Get us out! I don't suppose we could rest a spell. Perhaps a little rest is in order. Please, I should rest and tend to my wounds. This lad's not coming back without a wee kip. I'm not going anywhere like this. And where do you think I'm going to put it? Huh? For me? I shall put it to good use. Right fetching. Suits me, eh? This changes nothing between us. I'm honored. This means a lot to me. Thank you. Oh, a rare find. Best hang on to that. If you've no use for it, well, that's quite nice. That could prove useful. They've no use for it anymore. Could scrape a few coppers with that. Well, we might as well. That is splendid. Why pay when you've spry fingers? You've quite the eye for quality. An excellent find. I shall follow your lead. Shall we try this again? I was wondering what you've been up to. You know, I was hoping you'd ask. All right. I've been looking forward to this. If you're certain, I'll lead the way. You'll do this. Follow me. A word? Favour a round of havering? We need to talk. Could I speak with you? I'll see what I can do. Subtle indeed. I'm feeling the strain. About taxed to my limit. We won't show 'em the whip feather yet. They'll nigh get us both. Oh, can't take much more. Got to keep the lad on his feet. As one! Forth to battle! Death take you! Dare, no! Hold on, Maya! We've lost our bird lass! Seraphim! Tekehu? Not Shoti. Is Edwin really gone? Make the bastards rue that one! Watcher, no! Hold them back! I'm seeing red now. If we go down, take 'em all with us. Straight again, you caitiffs! We've lost one! Maya! No! Edwin's finished. Good riddance. Adair! No! Watcher! Rekka, no! Facina! Constantine! Pelagina! No! Pelagina! Adair! Careful! Look out, Maya! Our dauntless Valian isn't doing so well. We've lost Seraphim! Tekehu! Fight on, Joti! Not now, Edwin! Look out, Watcher! Our number is diminishing! We can't afford another loss. Our work's cut out for us now. I'll nigh let him take me down! Adair! I'll kill the bastards! Watcher, please be careful. Perhaps she could stay like that. Watcher! Tekehu, hold on! Watch your back, Tekehu. Careful, Adair. On your feet, Adair. Watch out for Adair. Get up, Tekehu. Stand firm, Tekehu. Watch out, Rekka. Careful, Facina. Constantine, look out. Take heart, Pelagina. I feel off. Oh, this is most unpleasant. Oh, I missed the right. I went straight to the sick. What have you done? This is wrong, Watcher. You're right mad. This isn't you. You're better than this. Stop it! I'll see what I can find. Nice and quiet. I shall be discreet. Don't you have other matters to attend? Fie, you're worse than Aloth. Isn't this a bit much? Yes, aye.
For what do you linger here? The village is much too quiet. It seems the Lagofath no longer bother us. I can save my strength for a worthy fight. The other Mataru will weep at losing the competition, I say.
How may I help? Oh? I think that's best left in private. Come now, not here. Surely you have better things to do. What do you think I'm going to do? What? Tell me. Yes, what now? I'm here. Anything. Isn't this a bit much? That's not very helpful. This is futile! I cannot whack him any harder! The work of a moment. It is done. Make the bastards rue that one! I'm seeing red now! If we've to go down, take them all with us! Try it again, you caitiffs! We've lost one! Adair, no! Hold on, Maya! Seraphim! Tekehu? Not Shoti. Is Edwin really gone? Watcher, no! Maya, no! Edwin's finished. Good riddance. Adair! No! Seraphim, come back! Watcher! Adair, careful! Look out, Maya! Our dauntless Valian isn't doing so well. We've lost Seraphim! Tekehu!
Fight on, Joti! Not now, Edwin! Look out, Watcher! Our number is diminishing! We can't afford another loss. Our work's cut out for us now. I'll nigh let him take me down! Adair! I'll kill the bastards! We must protect Maya. Watcher, please be careful. Perhaps she could stay like that. Rally around Seraphin!
My Seraphin, is there anything you have a hard time with, aside from humility? After spending so much time with Connor, I'm surprised. You're nothing like him. What happened to your armor? You always kept it so neat. I've noticed you seem to be frequently at odds with others in your order. If only we were all as confident in real skills as you are in imagined ones. For someone who talks so much, you seem to care about very little. I already have one guest in my head. I don't need another. I have already dislodged one trespasser from my head. I have no interest in another. Do you ever have a thought and just decide to keep it to yourself? Oh, don't strain yourself on my account. You deserve leaders who honor your devotion. It sounds like the last 5 years have been good to you, and I see you haven't changed a bit. You know, Palagina, I never realized how much I missed your company. She won't try to touch your feathers again. That's for certain. Nothing seems to shake your faith in the republics, Palagina. But do you ever wonder what they'll become? For all your doubt in the gods, how can you believe animancers are any more responsible? You place too much faith in them. Given the same license, they'll be just as bad. Oh, you could certainly do worse when it comes to family. Most birds I've seen leave quite a mess. How is Ishiza so tidy? Just when I thought I needed to relax my personal boundaries. I take it the Hazanui runs a tight ship. Do you ever disagree with orders? You Rawatayans aren't much for passive aggression, are you? I can certainly sympathize. Is everything all right? You seem restless lately. You certainly seem cheerful lately. Sleeping better, I hope? I don't suppose you could share your secret. I rarely get a decent night on the ship. I don't know how you and the Watchers sleep, carrying all those souls around. How about a soothing cup of copper tea? Or maybe a good soak in the bathhouse? If you find that comforting, then I'm glad for you. Does it suddenly feel warm in here to you? I'm sure I don't know what you're talking about. Talking? No harm in talking, is there? Not between two very special friends with lots to talk about. Well, we have known each other for quite some time, especially not when it seems we're actually headed in that direction. I would hardly call it that. Besides, my idea of celebration is a little more private. Knowing your inclinations about the gods, I'm surprised you didn't give Ruano a piece of your mind. The Songreta should not have disrespected you at the hearing. It seems the Huana have their own version of animancy, reading the souls of the young to establish their roles. And I suppose he did do enough talking for all of us. And do they owe you nothing in return? And if they devoted all their efforts to such endeavors, you wouldn't hear me complain. It's Flouney's project. Can you imagine what a danger that might be in the wrong hands? Or we might avoid greater harm. Animancers attempt to alter what the Huana merely observe. I'm sorry about Giacomo. I know he meant a lot to you. I can't help but think about his work. Don't you wonder at what might have happened if your parents had known? I'm relieved Giacomo as well. I know he means a lot to you, yet even he recognizes the dangers his work presents. I used to see your dedication as the absence of doubt. But that's not it at all, is it? I didn't abandon anything. Rather, I realized the harm I could cause was greater than the good I could do. Of course that was wrong. But imprisoning dragons has hardly spread the way animancy has, or the unflagging ambition of animancers. They've disowned you. You owe them nothing, least of all this humiliation. It's fundamentally different. Even so, the Huana examine mere facets of a soul and purport to understand it. This, too, is dangerous. I suppose you're right. Yes? As a matter of fact, I did. I visited my father. I hadn't seen him since leaving the academy at Broggenhiel. I saw my mother for the first time in years. She was well. She'd been living with her Thane for quite some time. I don't think she'd been to see my father since I left. I used to blame her for her long absences, for not intervening directly with my father. He was an exacting man with a violent temper, one that often found its outlet in me. I realized that she was torn between two demanding roles, and two demanding men. I used to resent her for failing to protect me. But I understand now that her absence is what allowed me to grow. Intentionally or not, she gave me the space I needed to learn a degree of independence. It was decades ago now. I'm just pleased I could come to a better understanding with my mother. Thank you. It felt good to resolve that much. Was she also responsible for my father's drunken rages? His impossible expectations? She was caught against him too. Besides, I think she tried to help me. In her own way. But not yours? It's all right. After all, it took me quite some time to reach this understanding. It's one thing to forgive my mother for her absence. Quite another to excuse him. It was not well. Years of drinking have finally caught up with him. And I don't think my mother has been to see him since my academy days. Still, time had worn down his edges. Like an old Stelgar with dulled teeth, I used to see him as an iron tyrant. A cold, unyielding presence. I simply came to realize that he was ultimately a weak man. One who, in his own flawed way, tried to give me order and structure. I don't condone his violence, or his temper. But I do pity him for his failings, and forgive him of his flaws. It may seem strange, but I find it easier to forgive my father. He may have had a cruel temper, but he at least was present. My mother knew what he was like, and she spent most of my life away with her Thane. No, but I do hold her responsible for her absence. We were both liabilities to her. Her alcoholic husband and awakened son. So she kept us both at a distance, where we couldn't damage her prospects. Indeed, I don't know about that. I've simply come to see the burden of authority differently, and my father, for all his efforts, was not cut out for it. My father was steward to an earl in the Seathwood. My mother entered into a hamnig with a thane when I was very young. I think they must have loved each other once, but I recall little evidence of it. Well, they seem largely competent. I would feel better about that were they not run by profiteers and animancers. I had heard Deadfire had a pirate problem, but I had no idea how large it was, or how fashionable. The Queen seems to operate with a light hand on the tiller, so to speak. The Hazanui is a rather forceful woman, isn't she? Well enough, I suppose. It's certainly a relief to use my real name once more. It's been a while since I've been able to speak candidly with anyone, especially about the Leaden Key. It's unexpectedly liberating. It's strange to imagine an ancient Leaden Key sect could have been working quietly all these years. But we've seen stranger things, haven't we? Encountering the Wahaki has forced me to face some uncomfortable truths. There was a time when I would have mourned that knowledge, but not now. Thank you. Governor Clario seemed honest and well-intentioned. So one wonders why he was stationed at such an out-of-the-way post. Still, the only thing more dangerous than a unified pirate nation is one at war with itself. I worry about who will be caught in their crossfire. I'm relieved their infighting is over, especially with Ferrante in charge. In time, I think he'll bring much-needed stability. I suppose I should be glad they're stabilizing, though I'm not keen on Eldice's leadership. She seems violent, chaotic. My kind of lass. Yes, that's what worries me. And perhaps a more cohesive sense of style. Perhaps that's not a bad thing. After all, Deadfire could use a bit more order. I think they're one of the most ordered and deliberate organizations I've ever seen, and I don't entirely trust that. Not after the Leaden Key. I fear that bodes ill, and I think that's a good thing. The Deadfire is a maelstrom of competing interests and clashing powers. Someone needs to bring order to the chaos. What the Deadfire needs is someone who can lead its people without smothering them. Do you need something? You look like you have something on your mind. I know that look. One would hardly imagine that a colossus made of glowing ardra could be so hard to find. But then I suppose the gods wouldn't have chosen you if the task were easy. I didn't witness the destruction of Cadnua. But if it was anything like what happened at Hasongo, then it's a wonder you survived. Is Aethys unconcerned at the destruction he causes? Or merely unaware of it? Either way, the implications are distressing. I'm still trying to make sense of it. To think that Aethys would destroy the wheel. Whatever comes next, Aora will need someone to make sense of it. Meanwhile, the gods squabble over what to do next. They're no better than the scheming authorities here. I know that look. 5 years ago, you controlled the destiny of thousands of souls in Sun and Shadow, but the choice you make today shall define the fate of every living thing in Aora. I can certainly understand the perils of overthinking matters. Good. I know you will. I suppose that's true. And I suppose it can be comforting to remember that. I hope so. I know you'll choose wisely. And no matter what happens, it's been an honor journeying with you. Again, whatever happens, know that I wouldn't trade our journey together for anything. I trust you'll make the right decision. And I'll be here when you return. Just be careful. We haven't always seen eye to eye, but I hope you'll consider the matter well and choose wisely. For all our sakes. And to think of all the times I've asked you the same question. I suppose if it were up to me, I'd want to leave someone or something in charge, to guide and shepherd us. I suppose if it were up to me, I'd want to ensure that Kith are free to define their own future, to triumph or fail by our own decisions. But it isn't up to me. You taught me something truly wonderful. That the world will find its own rhythms no matter what I do. That it isn't up to me to discern the right answer to an impossible question. I'd offer you the same peace of mind now. Thank you for your discretion. I'm certain you have many questions, but I fear they must wait until we're off this island.
That's a rather long story. The short version, for now, is that I'm gathering information on local animancy operations. But I could ask you the same. Oh, there's never a dull moment with you. Excellent. We'll speak more once we're away from this island.
At least the food here is better than that mush in Gilded Vale. The Valians understand the proper use of seasonings. I would be happy to assist.
We can speak more freely once we're away from Port Marge. For now, let us find Odorisi. Indeed.
Please? That is surely a generous overstatement. If that's all, then perhaps we should be off. Really, this helpful stranger surely has more important things to worry about. It's true I have other business. I'm afraid I can't explain. But please know that I meant no harm. I certainly didn't intend to hurt you, Benessa. You can't be serious. I'm certain we could be of mutual benefit to one another. Should you change your mind, I will be here a little longer. Watcher, as I mentioned, I have other business in the Deadfire. As you must have guessed, I have other business in the Deadfire. I would gladly travel with you once more. I suspect we could be of mutual assistance. But it is your decision. If you do not wish my company, then I shall board the next ship that passes through. And I suspect this will be farewell. I shall try. The sooner the better. I suppose I'll make my own way back to town. Let me know if you change your mind.
It seemed like a convenient story. Besides, you do have the oldest soul of anyone I know. I shall miss their company, though this only confirms that animancy is a hazardous pursuit at best.
And you, friend. Excellent. Perhaps we can speak further once we're away from this place.
We can speak more freely once we're away from Port Marge. For now, let us return to Clario.
That's Odorisi. Poor fools. They were unprepared for this. Watcher! What are you doing? I don't think that's really... Surely we don't have time for... That's quite a... I take it you're leaving Port Marge. Well, now that the storms have cleared, I expect I'll be doing the same soon enough. I saw you when you came out of the ruins. I was with the Animancers. I wanted to say something to you, but I didn't want to give myself away to the others. It's a story for another time, but I've been pursuing other matters in the Deadfire, which has me thinking. We fought Theos together in the Deerwood 5 years ago.
A lot has changed since then, but the gods have seen fit to bring us together once more. I take it you're leaving Port Marge. Now that the storms have lessened, I expect I'll be doing the same soon enough.
The steward told me about your incident at Cadnua. Aethys took a piece of your soul. I suppose it's only natural to lose a few memories along with it. You and I met in Gilded Vale, shortly after your arrival in Deerwood and in the midst of my run-in with the locals.
You hearken this? So many years and still he's cold as a crag in his teeth.
I was with you as you sought Theos and answers regarding your awakening. And you helped me come to terms with mine. Thanks to you, I learned to assert myself over Isilmir. She hasn't troubled me since. I've learned to appreciate Isilmir's decisiveness, if not her way with words. Quite so. Back to our journey across the Deerwood. We pursued Theos and discovered the leaden key at the center of Widewind's legacy. And, more importantly, a millennia-old conspiracy to conceal the true origins of the gods. At your suggestion, I took up Theos's mantle after we parted company. After we parted, I set out to destroy the leaden key. So do I. Once that might have surprised me. The task has been more difficult than I anticipated. So for 5 years, I've been tracking down leaden key circles, searching for the places where they operate in secret, hoping they can be reformed, trying to undo them. You didn't seem to think so 5 years ago. I'm sorry. This has been harder than I expected. But it's my responsibility. Theos had many lifetimes in which to build up the leaden key. I'm beginning to appreciate that advantage. You might have said so 5 years ago. Wherever did that come from? 5 years ago, you... Never mind. It's my responsibility. It's just been harder than I anticipated. I don't think I fully understood the weight of the decisions I would have to make, or the burden of living with them. It was much easier when I only had to follow someone else's lead. My father's, Theos's, yours. After we defeated Theos, I thought the hard part of undoing his work would be tracking down the leaden key's members and operations. After we defeated Theos, I thought the hard part of changing the leaden key would be tracking down its members and operations. Perhaps this would be easier with an example. I went to a village in Old Valia, a run-down backwater of a place. Centuries ago, the leaden key had intervened to end some heretical cult. At every full moon, the villagers would feed the soil with their blood. No one, young or old, sick or hale, was exempt. That's where it gets complicated. Some thought it would ward off Scan, or bring Berth's favor on the village, or Gon's blessing to their crops. I thought new leadership might guide them away from this practice. The village priest administered the practice. Grim old fellow. Reminded me of Theos. So I adjusted some of the deeds pertaining to the ownership of their land. It just so happened that a nearby Comtessa, a rather prosperous one, had a claim on the village, and the fertile fields around it. I thought so, at first. Yes, but the specifics depended on whom you asked. So I arranged for him to have an accident. The Comtessa annexed the village, as I'd planned. But she did nothing about the bloodletting ritual. The old man died, and the villagers were terrified. And while it continued, she taxed the villagers to pay for the plantation she was building, and conscripted half of them to defend it. They were convinced his death was an ill omen. They blamed it, and every other mishap that befell them, on their lack of faith. So they began bloodletting every week, turning on their neighbors for giving too little. Instead of a handful dying each year, a few perished every week. I had to do something, didn't I? I keep wondering what I might have done differently, or how I could have known better. Then at least I'm in good company. I suppose so. I should get some rest. It's been a long day, and you've given me a lot to think about. That. I'm looking for an old leaden key sect. I've found several references, but I want to be sure. Please, let me go over my notes again. Then I promise I'll tell you everything. I know. And I have. I wish I knew. I haven't. What matters is that you got us out again. I don't blame the villagers. I can understand needing someone to follow, something to believe. I can't blame the villagers. After all, they were led into it, or they would bleed themselves to the point of fainting. Past that in many cases. In the days that followed, a couple would die of exhaustion or infection. I did it for the right reasons. Not that this changed much. You know me too well. All the same, I need to gather my thoughts. Is it? In the end, the villagers suffered more because of my actions. Perhaps so. Let us speak again once we've left Port Marge. Thank you again for maintaining my story in front of Vanessa and the others. I didn't enjoy deceiving them, but it seemed simpler than the alternative. We've come to an arrangement of sorts.
Aye, he lets me in on the bash and I'll leave him the jawing.
For the most part, anyhow. I realized there could be nothing between us. But it was nice to have a friend all the same. I wish you'd maintained my story in front of Vanessa and the others. I'm reforming one of the most secretive organizations in all of Aora.
If that bampot was chafing his own mother's daughter, worth no ill of mine for noticing.
Just so. Believe me, I take no pleasure in duplicity. I've certainly had my share of practice these last 5 years. And now Port Marge is behind us. I thought this would be a relief. I can't believe you killed them. Vanessa and the others. I hoped you'd understand. Then why did you... You stood with me through more than anyone I've ever known. But a lot has happened over the last 5 years. I didn't take over the Leaden Key to murder animancers. I've been trying to build something better. For the last 5 years, I've been working to stop excesses like this. And after 5 years, I suppose you're going to tell me who I am and what I need. I'm working against one of the most secretive organizations in all of Aora. One with a rather troubled history as far as animancy is concerned. That's not the sort of thing one shares with new friends. I suppose not. But I considered them friends. Surely that counts for something. I wanted to use the Leaden Key to improve the lives of Kith. It's controlled us for too long. I wanted to free Kith from it. It does seem idyllic, but the pamphlets fail to mention the worm nests and sea serpents. But it's our duty to give them compassionate guidance, isn't it? He was a tyrant. I was certain that if the villagers were free of his influence, they'd be free from the bloodletting too. Thank you. It's a relief to share this burden. You've given me a lot to think about. Watcher, we must talk.
Wicked old bone bag, 'tis what the lad means. Aye, right home like it was.
The details were lost, but what had endured was a practice of ritual bloodletting. A gruesome, pointless tradition. Old habit. I beg your pardon. Things once got out of hand when Isilmir found a bottle of cassava liquor and recalled the lyrics to the Licorice Lass of Colklin. I've no wish to linger on this. I just hope this doesn't continue. Especially if we're to be traveling together. You've made that abundantly clear. I almost forgot how much you enjoy a good joke. Even at my expense. You'll pardon me saying so, but it's rare that you don't have an angle. What is this really about? Yes, I suppose that's for the best. It's been a rather long day. Forgive me, but you've caught me quite off guard. I'm truly glad to see you again, but it's been 5 years. And we've both been through quite a lot. Perhaps we should focus on the work before us for now. Indeed. Forgive me, but it's been a rather long day. Great and terrible things are at work. And once again, you seem to be in the middle of it. I promised to tell you what I was doing among the animancers at Port Marge. As you may have guessed, I was observing them, gathering information on the various animancy operations in the region. I wish I had your clarity. Animancy is a subject of particular interest to the Leaden Key. Through it, I hope to pick up the trail. Yes, and how better to draw them out. After that incident in Old Valia, I thought more about the Leaden Key and its particular composition. It's existed for over 2,000 years. Say what you will about its motives and methods, but that's an impressive tenure. Oh, very funny. That's when I realized how short-sighted I'd been. To think I could change the Leaden Key without understanding how it works. That's when I realized how short-sighted I'd been. To think I could undo the Leaden Key without understanding how it works. If you two are finished, I found references to an ancient Leaden Key cabal in the Deadfire. Possibly one of the oldest, if accounts are credible. And they appear to have been working independently, without direct intervention from Theos, for almost 2 millennia. And how to reform it, yes. And how to destroy it, yes. Most sources refer to them as the Painted Masks. But I haven't met anyone here who knows that name. There's the challenge. I don't know where in the Deadfire they are exactly, but I was hoping we could look for them together. I believe you. That's all I ask. I'm afraid so. I understand. I only hope that if we run across them, you'll allow me to investigate. For the Watcher who survived the wrath of the gods, I would hope so. That's where it gets complicated. Merely a first step. Don't you see? If I understood how they've continued to operate, I could learn how to reform the leaden key. Don't you see? If I understood how they've persisted, I could learn how to destroy the leaden key. This is about the reason I came to Deadfire. The people I've been searching for. I'm afraid not. I now know better than to keep secrets from a man who can read souls. I now know better than to keep secrets from a woman who can read souls. I wouldn't insist if it weren't important. Oh, very funny. I've made some missteps over the last few years. As a result, I've thought more about the leaden key's composition. I don't understand. What did you find? Truly? Then perhaps we'll find something there. Please, let's look around. What exactly have we set in motion, Watcher? The Rauataians we passed will doubtless spread word of what you've done in Hasongo.
But others will want to know what you've seen. They'll look to you for answers.
Don't you worry what will come next? What events you might move forward? This is no small matter. You make it sound so simple, as am I. You heard Eothas himself reveal his plan to end the cycle of reincarnation. Now, the rest of the Deadfire will want to know what happened in Margaren's teeth. I can sympathize. Well, at least I'm not alone in this. It reminds me of the question that drew me to the Deadfire. The one I've been avoiding. Not out of malice. There was simply no better way. By studying its origins, of course. Fight and spur the lad. Thank you. I don't know how you can be so certain. I still don't understand how you can truly know what they will mean. This is a prudent time for me to explain something. Whoever lives here, they've obviously been here a very long time. Anyway, it's late. I suppose that's enough from me. Anyway, there's daylight yet. I suppose that's enough from me. And that looks strangely like the leaden key insignia, but twisted somehow. I'm sure, but imagine what we could learn from them. Relax, Adair. I'm not defending them. I don't suppose you found any stray souls. I'm not finding anything. Did you find something? You have that look again. Well, that's a start. I found some unusual stains. I don't think they're blood, but they are rather odorous. So it is. But what would that be doing here? None of them are particularly informative or pleasant to consider.
Aye, plenty. Mayhap.
That's unfortunate. We'll just have to keep looking. Whoever killed them couldn't have gone far. Still, I don't think this is mere coincidence. My thoughts exactly. I've heard they're aggressively isolationist. As for what that has to do with the leaden key, at least we know where to look next. Then I suppose we shall have to keep our eyes open. What is it? Did you notice their face paint? That mural? That's the same headdress Theos wore. I've never known anyone to live in Engferth ruins. It certainly seems the Wahaki have been here a long time. Perhaps the chieftain will have answers for us.
I only wish we could find another hapless initiate with a spare hood. Though if this becomes anything like our encounter in the Defiance Bay catacombs, well, I hope we get our answers before the bloodbath. Of course. The same group we met on Motario Kozi, as I recall. You look as though you've seen something. Back there, with the chieftain. Did you see something? Did you find anything on Oreo Koiki?
Then the Wahaki are the painted masks. They've been serving the leaden key's interests for 2,000 years without even knowing it. Though not, it seems, in the way Theos intended. Belief is a curious thing. Once, the Wahaki believed they were guarding themselves against the Engwithans, Theos' people. Yet over time, they became hostile toward all outsiders.
Is it?
It's not just that the Wahaki misread Theos' original message. It fundamentally changed them. They went from being a large and well-connected tribe to a much smaller one defined by isolationism.
But don't you wonder if bearing that message was part of what made Theos who he was? Yes, but it didn't stop there. Perhaps they would have reacted differently to it without Theos' intervention, or who they'll be.
You see all the ninnying I suffer from this lad? Right sure 'tis rattling around in his noggin.
You know me too well. I've been chasing the leaden key, trying to undo the harm they've caused. But what if I'm only making matters worse? Might I be to blame? Have I made a grievous mistake in getting involved?
Perhaps not.
But I suppose we'll never know what would have happened without Theos's meddling.
I suppose that's true. It's an intimidating thought, but a heartening one too.
Where to begin? So little that I expected to find a conclave of black-clad minions in the middle of the Deadfire. When you put it that way, mine does sound like a rather flimsy excuse, doesn't it? You're right. Perhaps I've been unrealistic in my expectations, and I should stand by and simply allow it to happen? That's what I was afraid you'd say.
Well, knowing the gods came from Kith, it's easy to see how the world became such a complicated place. It was always too comfortable to leave the hard decisions to others, to simply follow along. But I can't imagine he thought he'd destroy an entire generation either. Well, not in the beginning, anyway. The strange thing is, this whole ordeal has given me some sympathy for Theos. Not that I condone his actions, of course.
There are few people I would consider lucky for being burned alive. But I see your point. From what you described, it certainly didn't seem that way. But I'll concede that Theos was wilier than most. No, I don't suppose he did. Troubling, isn't it?
I've been hunting the leaden key, trying to shape them into a force for good. But what if I only make them worse? I must say that's a disconcerting thought. If that's true, then every decision we make is fraught. Nothing is certain. Perhaps I was wrong to think I could unmake a 2,000-year-old organization, or that it would be a straightforward task. Perhaps I was wrong to think I could change a 2,000-year-old organization, or that it would be a straightforward task. It seems I've been as misguided as Theos ever was. We're always trying to impose our own order of vision upon it. Perhaps it would be better off if we stopped altogether.
It's not as though that's up to you or me, is it? Anyway, thank you.
This has lifted a great burden from my shoulders.
But perhaps you're right. After all, how did I think I could overcome 2,000 years of work in a single lifetime?
Perhaps it was naive to think I could reform a 2,000-year-old organization in a single lifetime. But it's worth it to try.
Perhaps it was naive to think I could dismantle a 2,000-year-old organization in a single lifetime. But it's worth it to try. Thank you for your rousing show of confidence.
What I mean to say is, he thought he was doing the right thing. Even at the end. Indeed not. I've got Isilmir for that. I shall try. A prudent suggestion. I only wonder now what sort of decision you'll have to make when we finally confront Aethys. I don't doubt you. A reasonable point. Then you have more faith than I. Agreed. I worry things aren't so simple. Still, perhaps you're right. At any rate, it will be a relief to move forward. True indeed.
But I suppose that doesn't make the effort any less meaningful, does it?
For whatever reason, the gods have decided to trust you with the fate of the world. I must say, our adventures together have been a welcome change of pace.
I hope you know I have immense respect for all you've accomplished. But lately, I fear you're leading us down a troubling path.
But lately, you don't seem to recognize the gravity of the situation before you. That troubles me. Please, I need to be candid with you. I took it over in hopes of changing all that, and that's why I set about ending it. Yet recently, I've seen you put entirely too much faith in old ways of doing things. Chasing Aethys and treating with the leaders of Deadfire has put you in a position of incredible responsibility, or unconcerned by them. We both know the choices before us aren't always clear or simple. I only ask that you give them due attention. The leaders of nations and powers listen to you. The gods themselves rely on you. I must admit, after receiving so much advice from you, it feels strange to be on the other end of things. No more than any of us can do. These things are traps, nothing more. If nothing else, I appreciate that you've taken the matter to heart. Thank you for hearing me out. Perhaps I should know better by now than to take you at face value. Well, thank you for hearing me out. This is a great weight off my chest. Perhaps not, but what of everyone else? Those kith whose fates you decide. Just consider it. Do you think I chose my awakening? Or my responsibilities with the leaden key? You're missing the point. I was there. That made it my responsibility. Just as Aethys, the Deadfire, and the rest are yours. You continue to rely on provincial assumptions, cheap superstitions. You continue to act as if you're beholden to no one. Perhaps that seems trivial, but consider where blind reliance on tradition has led. Take the gullet. A squalid slum, and all because Juana custom separates the castes. I told you about the bloodletting in Old Valia, yes? Generations of suffering, and all for reasons no one even understood. You saw the Wahaki. They became a paranoid, isolated little tribe because none of them thought to question their hatred of outsiders. Or do you think Bayan and the others would have followed Gadarian Bosch if not for their unquestioning faith in Aethasian tradition? Back in the Deerwood, even you admitted Sagani's search for her elder was a waste of 5 years. Surely you can recognize what a danger this is. Enlighten me. I suppose I do. I beg your pardon? Then you shan't. I suppose you're right. I can't make your decisions for you, but I do hope you'll take my warning to heart. I didn't mean to imply... never mind. I hadn't thought of it that way. I suppose that's true. Perhaps it's not as simple as I thought. Still, I hope you'll take my warning to heart. Yes, and it makes them ignorant and complacent. But, like it or not, you are responsible for the lives that have been placed in your hands. You can't shrug this off. Surely I've earned more consideration than that. I beg your pardon? Surely that's not the same. Theos was a madman. Do you? When we first met in the Deerwood, you were struggling for your sanity. Now you're fighting for your soul. I can't imagine the weight of that burden. And yet you've borne it, and more remarkably. But you do. That's precisely what I mean. You know what I mean. That we do, but it's more than that. I'm glad it appears so, though I'm hardly in the same position as you. And Bereth herself, I imagine. That puts you in a position of incredible influence. I've known you to be a person of rare kindness. I've known you to be a person of strong principles. You often seem indifferent to what happens around you. I've always known you to be thoughtful and deliberate. I've known you to be forceful at times. Hot-headed, even. It is sometimes difficult to gauge what truly matters to you. I'm glad you don't take your responsibilities lightly. Perhaps so. But you must know how many lives hang in the balance. We all do. But so few of us are in the position to do so much. If only more people thought as you do. At Sun and Shadow, you determine the fate of thousands of souls. I should hope you gave the matter due consideration. I didn't mean to be callous. It's just, very well, I'm so rarely sure of anything. Not the least when it comes to the grand affairs of gods and kith. I admire that. That's precisely what I mean. I don't know that I could trust myself with the decisions you're making. Perhaps what I mean is, if we must be caught between the gods and the wheel, then I'm glad you're on our side. Come now, you make this look easy. I gladly would. That means a lot. Thank you. Now I hope you'll excuse me, but I really must review my grimoire. The gods have sent you after Aethys, and every power of note in Deadfire has their own plans for you. But I'm pleased to see that you don't take your responsibilities lightly. Still, I'm pleased to see that you don't take your responsibilities lightly. I hope you'll remember this in the days to come. If only more people did as much. Please, just remember this in the days to come. After all we've seen, how can you say that? For the first time in a long while, I feel truly confident in where I'm going. What I'm doing. With you, I mean. You and I are rather different. You and I have so much in common. You're bold, brash. More like Isilmir, I suppose. We both tend to keep matters to ourselves. With good reason, I'm sure. You're forward, outspoken. We're both careful with our words. With good reason, of course. We both think before we act. A sensible habit, but frightfully uncommon. Perhaps that's why you're decisive where I'm uncertain. You know what must be done, and you don't hesitate. And yet you're decisive where I'm uncertain. Somehow you know what must be done, and you don't hesitate. But you always seem so certain. Somehow you know what must be done, and you don't hesitate. My own brief tenure with the Leaden Key has taught me there's nothing enviable about the position you're in. My own brief time hunting the Leaden Key has taught me there's nothing enviable about the position you're in. And yet you've borne it well. That's what duty is, isn't it? Simply doing what must be done. I'm glad you find it so, for few would be up to it. Whatever my faults, a lack of self-awareness is not among them. Whatever works for you, I suppose.
Theos relied on people's unquestioning trust in order, their enslavement to tradition.
Very well. That's how he built the leaden key into an organization capable of influencing events across Aora. You have a responsibility to use these opportunities to free Kith from destructive habits and antiquated customs. I only wish you took your role more seriously. It so often seems you're oblivious to the lives that depend on you. I do hope so. At least I know where we stand. Of course not. I only ask that you do what you can. That may be. I'm relieved to hear it. I know I expressed my doubts about you earlier. I take them all back.
Earlier, I told you how confident I felt in your sense of direction, how you've borne your burdens. As a priest, this may be difficult for you. Tradition and liturgy are in your blood, I expect. But these things can be a crutch. I understand you monks are often bound to your customs, but they can be a crutch. You left your home because you rebelled against the establishment, so it surprises me to see you cling to it here. I know you to be thoughtful, logical, so it surprises me to see you cling so reflexively to old customs now. You are a historian. Surely you've seen the dangers of clinging to the past. Your old profession in the sciences surely taught you the value of logic over intuition. So it surprises me to see you cling to nostalgia and custom.
You're probably not accustomed to being in a position of authority. After all, you left your homeland because you rebelled against the powers there. I suspect you may have an uncomfortable relationship with authority. Nekataka may be divided, but its people look to you. I know you have a troubled past. You've learned to look out for yourself, and you're accustomed to going where the wind takes you. Nevertheless, chasing Aethys and treating with the leaders of Deadfire has put you in a position of incredible responsibility. I know you care deeply about a great many things. You're certainly not shy about expressing it. You're often so careful with your words. It surprises me you could be careless in other regards. You have a good heart. I've seen you follow it more than once. You grew up with status and privilege. Perhaps you never bore the responsibility that comes with rank. You're truthful and straightforward, and I admire that. You may not be held in the highest esteem in Nekataka, but whether its people like you or not, you have a duty to them. I can only hope you keep that in mind. I beg your pardon?
Fie, Watcher, you're getting his gaff now.
You think you've got it all figured out, don't you? Well, perhaps you don't know me as well as you think.
What?
Tell him, Watcher.
I'm a solitary man at the best of times, and this is a most unusual moment to form intimate attachments. Perhaps, but in what measure? You might find this hard to believe, but you're not the first person to tell me that. It's hard enough sharing my head with one other person. I've spent most of my life hiding parts of myself, my name, my identity, my awakening, from everyone else. I'm not sure I can accommodate more. Thank you. Perhaps one day, when this business with Aethys is all over. If she had her say in this, I wouldn't want for intimate company. I'm not sure I know another way. I'm sorry. There's just too much else going on right now. Sorry. That's what I'm trying to say. I need time. As you wish. I don't have to. I've got nothing to prove to you. An excellent suggestion. I suppose you're right. Now, if you'll excuse me, I think I need a moment to myself. And you, of all people, are going to tell me about being overly combative? And you, of all people, are going to tell me about being opinionated? Yes, I'd say our pursuit of Aethys has left us with quite enough to handle. Well, thank you for this diversion, nonetheless. The gods have sent you after Aethys. The people of Nekataka look to you. And every power of note in Deadfire has their own plans for you. Well, that was unexpected, but not unwelcome. No, not at all. I've always been solitary by nature. It's been a relief to let my guard down with you, though. That's just the thing, and I've come to care for you. Then I hope you'll understand where I'm coming from. I'm not talking about physical space. I don't know where exactly our journeys will take us, or what will happen when we find Aethys. After living with Isilmir for so long, I've come to value privacy. The space to think and reflect in solitude. I don't want to make a commitment to you that I can't honor, and I certainly don't want to deceive you about my intentions. And I will have to return to my work with the leaden key if we survive this ordeal. Yes. I like the sound of that. Perhaps not. Still, I don't regret any time we've shared. I'm glad we spoke of this. Think of her as an intrusive neighbor, Not always present, but rarely far away. Still, she's the least of my concerns. My reticence isn't about you. I'm sorry. I can't do this.
Think a buggish lad like ye can feign dull. He's stewing on the fish-scaled one. 5 are the days when a bashin' fixed all.
Anyway, it does seem Takehu and I have gotten off on the wrong foot. Small wonder I was a terrible spy. Am I truly so obvious? Where to begin? He thinks some skill with water and a head of tentacles make him Ondra's blessing on land.
Fie, there's some kindness in the gods to give us such a spectacle.
I'm certain he's a perfectly good entertainer, but I have my doubts about his reliability. It isn't that, it's just, of course, but, well, of course not. I should hope so, and completely sheltered and coddled.
Fine, I half so pretty.
We certainly agree on that much. I apologize for any unseemliness on my part. This won't become a problem, I promise.
That's hardly the same.
Please. Isolmir may be uncouth, but at least she has some mettle. Please. Isolmir may have been uncouth, but at least she had some mettle. Perhaps not, but I hardly see what that has to do with anything. I was hoping you'd have a moment to talk. I continue to have concerns about Takehu. It isn't my attitude that should worry you. We've traveled together across 2 countries. Fought vengeful gods and their immortal servants. Did I question you when you dispersed thousands of souls into oblivion? Did I question you when you fed thousands of souls to Woodaka, the architect of so much misery? Did I question you when you scattered thousands of souls like so much chaff on the wind? Did I question you when you left Gilded Vale under the rule of a madman? Did I question you when you left Deerford in the grips of a bloodthirsty cult? Or when you sent that poor girl back to her uncle? It seems as though this is all a diversion to him. One he'll happily abandon for more bathhouse revels once the mood seizes him. I don't begrudge him his merriment, but I don't trust him to stand by us when things get difficult either. He barely feels any sense of duty toward his own people. What makes you think he'll stand by you? He thinks a head full of tentacles and delusions qualifies him for leadership. How can you trust him? I've seen his type before. No sense of loyalty or responsibility. No belief in any ends beyond his own. I knew students like him at Broggenheel and Adir. Pampered creatures who didn't believe in peril because they had never known it. The point is, he's untested and yet he plays with great power. He is a liability. A chance. I know you've grown attached, and that's what worries me. As long as you're clear about it, that's the problem. Please, hear me out now. I suppose you're right. I shall do my best to see that he does not bring us trouble. That was quite different. Anyway, I suppose you've made your point. And perhaps I've been uncharitable with him. I shall try to do better. Don't worry, I won't trouble you further.
And you've me to think it's nae more.
That's hardly the point. I think that's wise. I shall do my best to see that he does not bring us trouble. Isolmir, your explosive temper creates as many problems as it solves. You just don't stick around for the aftermath.
Do you think his trunk is always wet, or does it just shine so? Suppose the rest of his hair is squirmy, even the parts?
Until they toyed with animancy. It's a shame we can't stop to savor places like this. But they remind me of what's at stake. I wouldn't mind spending more time here together, once this is all over. Well, this reminds me of a particularly lovely spot in the Seathwood. Perhaps I can show you one day. So many people. I much prefer quiet evenings together. When I told you I prefer quiet and seclusion, this is not what I had in mind. Do you think Berith would object if we just stayed here a while? I thought Juana didn't believe in personal property. Yet you've brought quite the assortment of leather necklaces. In that case, perhaps you could remove them from my sleeping berth. A readied mind will be far more useful the next time we face dragons, cultists, or vampires. If you'd never experienced the pleasure in a good book, more's the pity. Takehu, must you practice your chant so loudly? Takehu, if you keep tugging on that, I fear you'll pull it clean off. I suppose you discovered all that on your own, lounging in the bathhouse? Came up with all that from the warm waters of the bathhouse, did you? That's what that is. I rather wish you hadn't told me. How could you live your life here and know so little about the gullet? That's why I've endeavored to learn. You've been pensive since the gullet.
I followed the leaden key for years before I learned of its excesses. Some are fond of palm wine, but I don't recommend it. That knowledge gives you a responsibility. That knowledge gives you power to change things. You're fidgeting again. You should learn to disguise your emotions. You're thinking about Ukaizo again. In my experience, millennia-old secrets are rarely simple. Be careful. You may not like what you find. I meant nothing by it. You're thinking about Ukaizo, aren't you?
Saying no has never stopped anyone before. He doesn't fight at the front because he's good with a sword. He's just dense as stone. He's not one for subtlety. Think of him as a big, happy dog. Does it ever trouble you, being so far removed from the rest of your order? I found myself in a rather perilous situation with a band of Darghouls, which is to say he's not one for taking hints, which is not as unkind as it sounds. To him, anyway. I certainly gave them worse. Not to boast, of course. Of course not. I'm terribly sorry. I didn't mean to pry. It's all right. I understand the feeling. I admire you, Shoti, for holding to your beliefs, even against the wishes of your superiors. I mean it. It took me entirely too long to learn to do the same. Oh yes, that's always how it started. It usually ended with someone losing an eye. Something new for Isilmir always ends with someone losing an eye.
If an eye, you take another tenders?
I have the benefit of a rather long history with my grimoire. One can't rush these things.
You've no sense of fun.
We merely swallow our food first. Is this a provincial euphemism, or were you actually being discreet? This is larger than your personal concerns, Adair. If we don't reach Aethys, none of this will matter. Adair, this is your chance to speak to Aethys. Our chance to set things right. Please, let's do this. Together. I'd be happy to help you with the math.
Fie, you've just to squawk a mite louder to drown him out.
Who exactly demands this sacrifice, Bairn? Aethys? Or him? Beware of men who claim the authority of the gods. They often have little care for mortals. Adair's right. A riveting essay on the properties of illusion. Oh, and Carabalt's treatise on the finer points of corrosives. Couldn't you control him? You don't see me plucking his feathers for extra quills. It's quite all right. I appreciate the gesture. Oh, plenty after the mess he made. Maybe not that gesture. You can't be serious. It's hardly my fault someone stored the pitch next to the lanterns. I like that much better than tedious and uptight. Is this a glimmer of sentiment from our Iron Paladin? What, I wonder, could this fellow have done to merit it? It's hard to stand apart, especially when those differences are not easily hidden. Normally I'm all for empty pleasantries, but perhaps this isn't the time. You'd think they both would have grown out of it by now. I conna your look, Adair. Something's champing at ye. I expect so. 'Tis a stouter feat than braving that old bone bag Theos, and so ye shouldn't. Someone's got to keep the lad on his feet. I like him to think so. Most folk judge only by their gaping and gawping. Not so with ye. Fie, dear, there's plenty in economy. If matters were otherwise, I could see a lass like me with a right fine lad like yourself. Gets a lass to wondering. Fie and cock's feathers, pay me no heed. I've wondered what it might feel to have your arms twining me. Your lips on mine. You dinna con him as I do. Poor lad has a kind, trusting heart. He wants that I should be happy. What exactly are you doing? Who else would I be, you idiot?
Oh, your face, Adair. Only thing finer in seeing it is feeling this lad's ire.
Fie, what's that I feel? Might it be a kindling where? I think we can all agree to forget that ever happened. Very well. Was there something else? Adair and Isilmir. You've seen how they're always carrying on. I've come to expect better from her, but Adair seems to bring out her worst. I hardly care what those two rubes think. It's just... there's something about it that brings me back to our time in the Deerwood. But I've changed, even if Adair hasn't. Of them? You must be joking. I'm loath to admit it, but yes, perhaps for you. You cured your awakening and ended up with a keep. For a while. I remember the lost, fretful person I was then. I don't enjoy it. You give him too much credit. As a matter of fact, you give everyone too much credit. Very well. I'll do as you suggest. In any case, thank you. I should have expected as much from you. You, of all people, are counseling restraint? I can always count on you to appeal to reason, can't I? I should know to expect the hard truth from you by now. I suppose this is my problem to solve after all. Nevertheless, thank you for listening. You've clearly seen plenty that I haven't. I'll try. In any case, thank you for listening. You make it sound so simple. I suppose you're right. Consider my expectations duly lowered. That's hardly fair, but I won't waste my breath. Anyhow, thank you for listening.
'Tis a right chore keeping the lad from himself. But someone's got to show him his limits, eh? He loses himself at times. I dinna want he should con it, but... 'tisn't always easy being stuck in this one's bone back. Nothing and no one to myself. Fie, 'tis roughing his precious spelly book that scares the lad. Or maybe 'tis notching his wee finger. Surely you've spied how he's always brushing himself. He won't say, but he's afeard of seagull shot.
The whole point of suppressing her was to keep her out of my head, which she did over and over. I heard you and Isilmir again. I do wish you would stop encouraging her. You think I care about your childish jokes? What bothers me is how she dog-ears my grimoire. And you keep bringing her out. Oh, quite a lot. I've been around the Eastern Reach, travelled to Old Valia. I'm perfectly capable of travelling on my own, you know. So, does Gilded Vale still reek of spoiled grain and burnt stew? I didn't realize farmers were in such short supply in the Deerwood. And those things are still running? Oh, I meant no offence. You know how to handle a tankard as well. I generally try not to. Why, thank you. And I suppose now you're going to tell me about it. Is it true Deerwoodins don't raise swine for their meat?
Fie, if you think the lad's fussy now, you should have seen him as a wee one. 'Twouldn't set foot in home or hearth without cleaning his boots. Slicked his breeches when he dallied. Fie, Adair, do you have a spirit twixt your chaps? The lad needs him more than ever now he's after the old lead key. I see your gummies flapping, but 'tis only mush dribbling out. And the rest of the ale hall got right quiet. Lad was a ruddy sight then. Oh, aye, see if he remembers that night. Yeah, you do mean to ask him, eh? Aye. I have old Isilmir for a chuckle, then called the lad when you bore. I conno your lark, Adair.
The strange thing about the Leaden Key is that the members are so disconnected. Many have little idea of what the organization really does, much less who I am. The headdress usually clarifies that last part. Most have little idea of what the organization really does, and they often have very different reasons for joining. Use enough big words, and most of them can be convinced you know something they don't. I must admit, Adair, I was initially surprised that you'd come all this way. You never struck me as much of a traveller. But you seem to be flourishing out here. Then again, I suppose I've gotten to notice a lot more of late. With Isilmir quiet, I mean. You know, normally when she's angry, there isn't a moment of peace. This is a welcome change. Strangely liberating, isn't it?
I've been wondering. What do you think you'll say to the blue lad when we reach him? I dinna con much of the gods and their lots, but I do worry for a friend.
Isilmir tells me you've been talking again. I didn't realize she was conversant with anything else. I'd hate to think I've suffered another awakening. Are you certain it's her? You were the one who allowed her between us in the first place. I do hope you're joking. It isn't you, and I didn't ask. You do realize you're not the first ill-mannered Orlin to suggest that? Indeed, it's a wonder we ever stopped Theos without you. How generous of you. Putting those cipher skills to work, aren't we? And both of us are equally capable of putting your snooping nose where it belongs. Was it your presence, I wonder, or an ill-timed remark about your furry blue nethers?
If ever an image inspired confidence. Or we could visit the bathhouse for a nice quiet soak. Just a thought. Well, you've certainly made up for lost time. A wizard requires a grimoire. Surely you write your chant somewhere. What exactly do you think they'll do? Swoop down and nibble my ears? Perhaps the birds wouldn't be tempted if the hole didn't smell like fish. There's virtue in suffering with dignity. Do the rest of us have a say in the matter?
Ah, the soul of an ancient animancer. Fantastic. Faye, a bully thing isna so bad if you canna how to use it. She doesn't lack for confidence. What do you mean to imply? Because it sounds to me like you're saying these spirits, while of one's soul, are all unique minds, and deserving of being treated as such. Do you believe the same is true of Isilmir, then? That although we share one soul, we are of two distinct identities? Pardon me, are you speaking from experience?
Aye, you thinking you canna wait tis to be a pair of minds fetching for ein body?
Isilmir and I may share a soul and my body, but we are each of us our own person. I have not lived her life and she has not lived mine. We are not the same. If I take this idea to its conclusion, then it would appear I am meant to understand that you believe Isilmir was as equally entitled to my body as I am. I know that. I wanted to be certain you did as well. I would certainly hope not. Gladly, if it means an end to this pointless conversation. You were the one who encouraged me to assert dominance over her in the first place! How can you... Ah! Once or twice. As you wish. How can you say that? I thought we... But you told me. I can't think about this right now. We have more important business to attend to in any case. Barbed our scepters and hooked our thrones. We do so love our aphorisms.
Well, now, this is rather awkward, isn't it?
As tends to happen when enough people die in one place. Was that a rat or a dog?
Meant to, an animancer's favorite words. This is most ill-advised.
How surprising.
Or a merely competent scholar.
That all sounds rather circular. Is this really the appropriate time, Tekehu? To balk now would put us at cross purposes to our goals. Give it a rest, Tekehu. For our sakes, if not your own. Gods know you have no modesty left to tarnish. Then Shoti hasn't been referencing Aethys each time she mentions gone? An even half-competent scholar could have found their way here based solely on the design of the crate you sent. The arena on Marge Island was built atop a substantial vein of Ardra. I wonder if that holds true here. Friendly, isn't he? You always take us to the nicest places, Watcher. Anything short of a full soul left clinging to a weapon is likely little more than dust. Or entirely insane. Rank foolishness, I'd wager. When you put it that way, it sounds rather familiar, doesn't it? Did you say something? What a surprise.
You can't be serious!
Is that even possible? I doubt he disrupted the flow of essence with any mere incisor. This is no better than the Engwithins, Watcher. Stay together. Who knows what may come of this? What a remarkably preserved specimen. It seems we've all been mocked champions of the hunt. These creatures are essence twisted to ill use. Watch yourself. I don't suppose we could talk them down. This brings back unpleasant memories. If there is bloodletting to happen, let it not be ours. We should count ourselves lucky it's chosen the shape of a god and not one of us. Fine, let's hide then! Caution'll serve us better than speed. Nothing a little fire can't fix. These things are best fought from a distance. Be careful. I take no joy in killing intelligent beasts. Let's be through with this quickly. This brings me back to my academy days. What do you suppose it's full of traps? This should make for a refreshing change. Watch for their archers. They had better not singe my robes. This is so undignified. Well, at least it's not a dragon. I've rather had my fill. Clever creatures. A shame no one suggested they bathe. Overconfidence is as deadly as ill preparation. Watcher, I implore you, don't let Adair adopt another piglet. For its sake and ours. Mind yourselves. The scent of ooze never washes out. Are the joints the optimum target or the head? Finally, a prize worth fighting for. Fascinating. I wonder how much energy he will require to maintain this state. Not that he's the only one we have to worry about.
Our slabbering lads Rick Skilter off. Do you spy him, Watcher? Is it the months-long night that drives your people to madness, Edwin, or is it the cold?
Now you take what you require from the living. A single incident hardly speaks to a fundamental truth. A king who cares nothing for history. I can't imagine how your empire fell to ruins.
Nae muckle a Keeley without your guards, eh?
They preyed upon your hospitality. The fault lies with them. It would appear to be under some form of enchantment, but I sense nothing of the sort. Curious. Imps are prone to rash behavior at the best of times, and I'd wager this one has seen better days. Are you quite certain that's wise? Perhaps Theos's headdress would mollify her? Now, where did I put that? You have stayed your hand in situations where many would not have. Better you realize it now than later, I suppose. Pardon? Surely I must have misheard you. Let's be off before it changes its mind. It's not impossible. The fact that Rimagond has not yet managed to defeat the dragon, nor destroy its phylactery, suggests it may be able to contain the god's power. A tragic, if accurate, assessment. I cannot help but wonder if there was something more we could have done. Well, I suppose there would be much to learn. You ettle a kissin' I could get you waisins. The spirit manipulates you. That is no more Theos than I am. Your world was a vindictive one, haunted by paranoia and suspicion. You could never have brought peace to Aora, only so that I might reshape it. Yes, Watcher, do show me how it's done. Apostasy. It means abandoning the faith. It seems we are meant to charge the accused with a crime. I worry this place grows less stable as a result of our actions. And it was not particularly stable to begin with. At least we learn more with each tedious tribunal. Let's not be hasty. Our actions here may result in consequences elsewhere. If this spirit's memory is true, then she's been bound here for well over 2 centuries. Similar in form and function to a chanter's summon. How unusual. I trust you don't honestly believe that. I doubt there are many deer to be found in the white that wend. Thank you? Dare I ask what's on your mind? Thank the gods for small mercies. The entropic energies here are nearly overwhelming. We must find a way out. Quickly! Watcher, don't do this! Whatever Edwin is, she does not deserve this fate. Best not to touch anything until we know what's going on here. There's a strange energy in this wind. Could that portal lead to the beyond?
Some of these glyphs are familiar. I believe those on the left are Engferth. Can you be more precise? The fall of Corfiser has been myth longer than it's been history.
These structures are of Engferth make. They look to be new. Strange. Well, wasn't that bracing? Perhaps I might remain up here? Well, isn't that clever? Oh, wonderful. How hospitable. That would have been terribly handy in my academy days. Walk cautiously. The entropic energy in these winds will tear our souls to ribbons. Watcher! Shush! I would hate to see what he considers the good outcome. You've certainly the skill, but I'm not sure about the temperament. I believe she refers to the metal born of falling stars. It's supposedly charged with arcane energy and, by all accounts, exceedingly difficult to come by. You scribed a new spell? Right there on the spot? Despicable. How many brilliant minds have they destroyed in service of their mission? We must take what hope we can when we find it. Are you not grandfathered into the circle as a result of your circumstances? Do you think she's given her grimoire a name as well? It would seem we have the wrong title. Perhaps she'd prefer something about stargazing? There's no reason that should work. But I suppose there's no reason it shouldn't either. And you'd prefer something more ill-defined. Why, exactly? I should have killed the old bastard. Should have teared his arm clear off. If the laddie hadn't stopped me. Oh dear, I'll never wash the stench out. A wizard of his standing is not so easily removed from history. Much like a tumor, bits of him are no doubt everywhere. That is hardly comforting. Your comparison is both shallow and inaccurate. The leaden key and the hand occult have little in common. The leaden key and the hand occult similarities persist by design, but not for much longer. For all the horror this place holds, I suspect it still holds much we might learn from, too. Consulhot's reprehensible antics give responsible wizards a bad name. What a refreshingly mundane point of view. The self is little more than an amalgamation of memory and feeling that informs the disposition of the soul. It doesn't alone define it. Given that understanding, I suppose what she describes is not entirely impossible. Pardon me, but I'll have you know the Watcher is a perfectly competent wizard. What I meant to say was better to be armed with knowledge, even if we choose not to act on it. Yes, how fortuitous. She specializes in magic involving tentacles. It's a niche field. No archmage of the circle should possess this power. Nothing ever is it? A quality common to archmages, it seems. You should count yourself lucky. Ah, another involuntary invitation to another world. And I'm to assume this eyeball is to blame? Watcher! Feeling very clever today, I see. Tain is an insult to the very concept of scholarship. Yes, it's very round. That sounds neither responsible nor wise. Even for a circle archmage. Oh, fantastic. You've wound him up again. If we're to be indulging outsized egos, I'd rather listen to Isilmir's prattle. I hope you're not actually considering indulging this madman. The horrors of Engferth truly know no bounds. What foul magic creates a creature like that? This isn't a test you need pass, Watcher. No one holds a needle to your throat. Deftly done, Watcher. You intend to put us in this sack, don't you? It is remarkable, isn't it? Swishy thing. Do you mean a broom? The laddie's able enough when it counts, Adair. I would never disrespect a librarian in such a manner. Perhaps you should keep that to yourself for a while, Watcher. Something tells me this isn't the Maura of legend. Perhaps it's the dangling eye. Be careful. Even in this state, she may have access to her wizardry. It's Maura. But who is that she's speaking with? Was that the lesson you took from this? A term that refers to an unusual growth. It wants to make you part of itself. I can't say I'm terribly inclined to find out how it knows that. Be on your guard. This man is a wizard. If you think the Watcher's bad, you should meet Tain. I studied the history of the Circle extensively during my time at Bragon Hill, and your name never came up. I'm not sure he means to compel this creature at all. I don't think we have much of a choice if we intend to get out of here alive. Have you forgotten that this all started with your god climbing out from the basement? His transformation has done little for his stability of mind. That's very advanced, actually. I am nothing like him. Shush, Rekka. Now is not the time. I'm glad to see you return to us with all your faculties intact. Then what? We let it return to tormenting its captives here? Your master would see us blinded and mindless for knowing too much. We just risked our lives to defeat this creature. And now you want to strike a deal with it? This is unwise, even for you. This creature is an agent of Wal. We cannot trust it. Those are priceless tomes. Careful, please. Oh, what a mess. Wal does love their illusions. Did that overgrown mushroom just speak with you? Wonders never cease. I see the fungus has made itself at home. That will stain the books for certain. Like as not, this staircase leads to the top of the archive. The body was a decoy. This does not bode well. Well, that's not unsettling. There is no justifying this horror. Does this look staged to you too? The chorus appears to be coming through this tube. I'd say I wonder where it leads, but I'm certain we'll find out eventually. I wonder how they tell each other apart. I don't particularly care for any of the gods, but I might care for Wal the least. How did she come by such tremendous power at such a young age? Oh, no, thank you, no. A curious collection. Do the Vithrak here think it trash or treasure, I wonder? I feel a bit faint. I don't know that this place agreed with our fungal friend. Any more than it does with me. One of Eora's greatest wonders, and it's infested with eyeballs. Lovely. Do you remember when we first met? You told that man to, pleasure his sister? Have we ever... No, I'm sorry, that's much too forward. It's just, we haven't kissed, have we? I'm sure that bodes well. Another boisterous drunkard. Gods, I'm starting to sound like Adair.
These people don't look like they've seen a walking statue, do they?
Do you think they'll give us a turn on stage?
We've put the Huana at the mercy of Rauatai. I fear we've done a great injustice. I don't relish what we've done, but if Rauatai can truly establish peace here, then it was worth it. I don't think they'll be happy to see us. We must move quietly, tread carefully. There may be other Naga nearby. Let's not stand too close to that. I'm starting to miss the gruel and gilded veil. The Rauataians don't do anything in half measures, do they? I suggest we don't go back there anytime soon. It's strange not hearing the animancers or their colorful curses. Onoto, we used to play dice after dinner, or reading in Gwithin would be most useful. Perhaps you could teach me one day. I don't suppose they're playing dead. I like tile puzzles. I don't think I like this one. Well, after you. That was harder than I remembered. Luminous Adra.
It probably connects to the pillar in the arena. Those belong to the Principi, the most dangerous pirates in the region. I suppose my day's better than I thought. Pirates. They're all over these islands. The real shame is the color saturation in those landscapes.
I've missed this place. Though not Thorol's porridge.
Still seeing spirits? Hopefully they're not as troubling as the ones you saw in Deerwood. Do these people normally leave this much black powder lying about?
Aethys was here all right. And it looks like he was headed to that lighthouse on the western end. Aethys was here all right. Oh dear. This is even worse than Port Marche. If I'd known there were that many in the water. Who's in favor of the long way around?
I suppose we're heading straight into that.
As long as we keep Adair quiet, this just might work. So much for the subtle approach. Oh, this should keep them busy. Is it just me, or are they all staring at us? Anything this closely guarded must lead to something important. Things have certainly gotten lively. A shameful waste of a harpsichord. This is going to be loud, isn't it? This is about to go badly.
I'm all for the path of least resistance, and that's going around. I propose a new rule. Let's not touch anything.
The air down here may be breathable, but that doesn't make it sanitary. Forgive me, but this is the last time I follow you anywhere underwater. I have a feeling I'm not going to like what happens next.
What are the odds of us escaping without facing that?
Is it just me, or do those seem larger than normal? That symbol. It looks like the one we saw on the abandoned ship. That symbol. It looks like a variant of the Leaden Keys insignia.
Is that how everyone handles disagreements around here? Was that supposed to be a comedy? Oh, a marvel. Oh, I could spend days studying this. I don't suppose that's the plan. No one's here. Perhaps that's for the best. I do hope we're not on the menu. Are you sure that was wise?
That seems a little too nice for a place like this. This reminds me of parts of the Seathwood I'd just as soon forget. I knew those damned animancers would be the end of us. I wouldn't touch that if I were you. Yes, let's all pretend that was completely normal. Tell me this is the last time we trust these animancers. Remind me not to cast Rolling Flame in here.
I do rather enjoy puzzles. I'm going to have nightmares about this for weeks. Someone really ought to be tending those. His markings look familiar. How do you suppose he wound up here?
Need I remind you of what happened the last time we interrupted a trial?
Do you hear that? I knew I should have brought something warmer. This does not look promising. I'm afraid I'm not dressed for the occasion. What the Watcher means is, thank you ever so much.
Yes, this all seems to be a misunderstanding.